I got an audio of Tom Brady giving his press conference today regarding the deflated footballs. There was really nothing earth-shattering here. And after a while the questions start getting dumb and I cut it off at this point. So enjoy what I gave you in this part.
Addressed it with you guys this morning, and I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions that you want. I'll do my best to provide the answers that I have, if any, and we'll go from there.
When and how did you alter the balls? When and how you supposedly alter the balls?
I didn't, have any. I didn't alter the ball in any way. I have a process that I go through before every game where I go in and I pick the balls that I want to, the footballs that I want to use for the game. Our equipment guys do a great job of breaking the balls in. They have the process that they go through. When I pick those footballs out, at that point, to me, they're perfect. I don't want anyone touching the balls after that. I don't want anyone rubbing them, putting any air in them, taking any air out. To me, those balls are perfect, and that's what I expect when I show up on the field. So, that happened obviously on Sunday night. It was the same process that I always go through. I didn't think anything of it. Obviously I woke up Monday morning and answered a question on the radio about it. And that was the first I really heard of it.
Well, Tom, you never thought this has raised a lot of uncomfortable conversations for people around this country who view you, three-time Super Bowl champion, a two-time MVP, as their idol. The question they're asking themselves is, what's up with our hero? So can you answer right now, is Tom Brady a cheater?
I don't believe so. I feel like I've always played within the rules. I would never do anything to break the rules. I believe in fair play, and I respect the league and everything that they're doing to try to create a very competitive playing field for all the NFL teams. It's a very competitive league. Every team is trying to do the best they can to win every week. I believe in fair play, and I always believe in that for as long as I'm playing.
What do you feeling that did Coach know it all, Tom? Did Coach know about this process at all? And after he spoke earlier, everybody kind of said that he kind of threw you in front of the bus. Did you feel like he kind of just put you in front of it?
No, I think everyone's obviously trying to figure out what happened. I think that's the main thing over the last couple of days. It's trying to figure out what happened. Like I said, I was as surprised as anybody when I heard Monday morning what was happening. I think over the last few days, people have been trying to figure out, as the NFL is trying to figure out, what part of the process, and from when I saw the ball, which was 5 hours before halftime, what exactly happened.
Tom, do all NFL quarterbacks doctor the balls? And do you feel you've done anything differently than anybody else in the league?
I'm not sure. I can only speak for myself. I think that there's a process that everybody goes through breaking in footballs, and it's probably a lot like a baseball mitt when you're a kid. I try to explain that to my friends a lot. When you use and that's your equipment, and that's a football is something that I handle on every play. I want to be very familiar with the equipment that I'm using, just like my cleats, just like my helmet, just like my my pads. You go through that process of breaking the balls in and getting comfortable with them. Of course, I choose the balls that I want to use for the game, and then that's what I expect to go out on the playing field with.
Tom, how important is it for you to get this out of the way and take this head on so that your teammates and the rest of the team can get focused on the Super Bowl?
Well, that's where the importance is, as far as I'm concerned. I know, this is a very important thing, and that's why I'm here addressing it. I know my teammates, we've accomplished something really special getting to this point. I don't like the fact that this has taken away from some of the accomplishment of, what we've achieved as a team. And I think, hopefully our best is still to come. So we're going to work as hard as we can over the next 10 days to put ourselves in, a great position to be prepared for the game.
Would you know the difference, Tom, from a quote-unquote underinflated ball to an overinflated ball, and the balls that you used in the first half, did you notice a difference in the balls that were actually there for the second half? And would it make a difference?
I didn't from the first half to the second half, I didn't think twice about it. I don't have to put one thought into the football at that point. Once I approved the ball, like I said, that's the ball that I expect out there on the field. So it wasn't even a thought, inkling of a concern of mine that they were any different. I just assumed that they were exactly the same. First half, second half.
Tom, what do you say about to the skeptics who say, look, the Patriots have had violations before. How can we possibly believe what Brady and the coach are saying now?
Well, everybody has, an opinion. I think everybody has, the right to believe whatever they want. I don't ever cast judgment on someone's belief system, and I don't, if that's what they feel like they want to do, then, I don't have a problem with it. I think part of being in this position and putting yourself under a spot like this and being open for criticism, I think that's very much part of being a professional athlete. So, we can only express to you what our side is and how we approach it, and then everyone is going to make their own.
As a follow-up, are you comfortable within yourself that nobody on Sunday on the Patriots side did anything wrong?
I have no knowledge of anything. I have no knowledge of any wrongdoing of any.
Nobody did anything wrong.
Yeah, I'm very comfortable saying that. I'm very comfortable saying that nobody did it. As far as I know, I don't know everything. I also understand that I, was in the locker room preparing for a game for 5 hours. I don't know what happened over the course of the process with the footballs. I was preparing for my own job and doing what I needed to do.
Tom, 3 or 4 years ago, Tom, you said that you liked the ball deflated. You were quoted saying you liked throwing a deflated ball. You actually joked about Gronk spiking it because it oozes out a little bit of air. You like a softer ball. So explain that comment in context of what you're dealing with this week.
Yeah, I remember, I obviously read that I said that. I like them at the way that I like them, which is at 12.5. I mean, to me, that's a perfect grip for the football. So, I think that particular term, deflated or inflated, whatever norm you're using, you could probably use. I would never do anything outside of the rules of play. I would never, have someone do something that I thought was outside of the
So you never knowingly played with a football that was under 12.5 pounds of pressure?
No.
Tom, should you have tried to find out why the balls in the last 3 days, why the balls were so underinflated? I mean, obviously it's important to you and the reputation of the Patriots, but have you tried to find out, even though you don't know that? Or should you have tried to find out why the balls were underinflated?
Well, and it's a great question. I think there's a lot of people that have more information than me. I only know what I've kind of gone through and the process that I've, taken as part of the game and in the post game, as well as trying to prepare for the Super Bowl. So, I have questions too, but there's nobody that I know that can answer the questions that I have. So I just have tried my best to focus on what I need to do is to be prepared for
If you know
the
the look and feel of the football that you like, do you think there could have been other games where you played with an underinflated football, since that football you played with is maybe something you prefer?
I don't know. Like I said, once I'm out on the field, I'm playing, I have no thought of the football at that point. I'm thinking about the defense. I'm thinking about the execution of the play and what I need to do. I'm not thinking about, how the football feels. I grip the football and
saying, hey, have I played with an underinflated ball before?
I have no idea. This was the first that I've heard of it. Obviously, on Monday morning was the first that I heard of it.
Someone held accountable. If it's found that someone is improperly tampered with balls at some point, it's important for you, the legacy of this team, that someone's held accountable.
Well, that's for, I'm not the one that imposes, those type of, accountability. It's, discipline and all that. That's, not really my job. So, obviously I'd like to know what happened, as you all would too. In the meantime, I'm going to try to get ready to do the best I can to play, against the Seahawks, because I can't do anything of what's happened in the past. I have to just go forward with the most awareness as I can going forward and trying to be the best that I can be for our team.
Everybody's entitled to their opinions and beliefs, right? But how does it make you feel that they're calling your team cheaters on the week 2 weeks before the Super Bowl?
I think a big part of playing here is, trying to ignore, the outside forces and influences and people that are maybe fans of your team or not fans of your team, or fans of yourself or not fans of yourself. And like I said, everybody's entitled to an opinion. Those opinions rest with those people. I think you can just go out and try to be the best person you can be, deal with people with respect, with honesty, with integrity, have a high moral standard. And I've always really tried to exemplify that as an athlete. And I'll continue to try to do that.
What's motivating you guys?
We got a lot of motivation. I would say we got a lot of motivation as a team. But I think our team's overcome a lot of adversity this year. And I think sometimes in life, the biggest challenges end up being the best things that happen in your life. And we've overcome a lot of those this year as a team. So we can rally around one another and support one another. You can be the best teammate that you can possibly be. And, you can go out and support each other and try to go win a very important game.
What did you say to
Tom, did you address your teammates? Did you address your teammates today? And if so, what did you say?
Those are, very personal things, with my teammates. So that's, it was very personal comments.
Tom, when you pick out the balls, what you said, is that before they went to the referee?
Yeah, they always are. It's always the same process. I get here, the playoffs, I got here pretty early before the games, and then I go in there and I choose, however many balls are necessary for the game. Sometimes it's 12, 16, 18, 24. This last particular game was 24. When I felt them, they were perfect. I wouldn't want anyone touching those. I would zip those things up and lock them away until I got out on the field and had the opportunity to play with them, and that's what I thought I was doing.
Tom, do you find it curious then that those balls were what they were, then they go to the officials at halftime? They're deflated by 2 points?
Absolutely. That was very surprising to me.
Tom, one of your teammates this morning said that this was a media thing. He gives us something to talk about. Is that the feeling in the room? Because he didn't give it as much seriousness as I thought he would have. Is there a feeling behind closed doors that we're blowing this out of proportion? Or is it a serious thing that you're really concerned about?
Absolutely. No, it's very serious. This is a very serious, topic. Obviously the integrity of the sport is very important. I also think there's another focus that we have also as a team, that guys are really focused on our opponent and the things that we have to do to try to be successful. So, everyone's trying to figure out what happened. But at the same time, you've got to prepare for, the Seahawks also.
You sort of laughed this off on Monday, though. You laughed this off on the radio and Southern Today. You're a lot more somber about this. What happened between Monday and today?
Well, that was, that was real early in the morning. I got home, at 12, 1 o'clock and woke up to do the radio interview, and I was very shocked to hear it. So I almost laughed it off, thinking it wasn't, that it was more sour grapes than anything. And it ended up, it ends up being a very serious thing when when you start learning the things that were being said.
The start of the second half was delayed. The balls were swapped out. Coach says he knew nothing about it, which, you have to take him at his word, but the game was delayed. How did you guys on that sideline not know what was going on the field with respect to the balls, and that there was obviously an issue with the balls?
I don't think anybody knew there was an issue with the balls. I think they said the balls are not ready for play, and then I turned around in the huddle, and the ball was ready for play. So I didn't think anything of it.
Nobody said anything to you, Tom, on the sideline. It was a good minute delay between the start of your series, when you came on the field, got ready, got lined up, and then before you had your first snap. There's a good minute delay. Nobody said anything?
I wasn't paying attention to what was happening at that time. I don't remember, everything was happening obviously so fast in the middle of the game. I was thinking about the series to go out there and, the execution of the game.
So Tom, you said that you
the officials did not say it worked.
You don't feel like you had an unfair advantage over the Colts? You don't feel like you had an unfair advantage over the Colts?
I felt like we won the game fair and square, so we ended up, playing a great opponent, and I felt our team went out and played a great game offensively, defensively, special teams. It was a great accomplishment to reach the AFC Championship, to win the AFC Championship, and then to have the opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. So that was a great feeling after the game. Obviously the next few days and hearing of the football issue has taken away from a little bit of that, but hopefully we'll rally around one another to bring it back to the task at hand, which is to try to go out and be the best we can be.